FNaF fan games are very, very popular, especially on sites such as gamejolt. I mean, there's literally a whole category just dedicated to FNaF fan games. There's also sites like Steam that have FNaF fan games. Not many, and the quality of them is very debatable, but they are still there. So as I'm sure we can tell, fan games are usually played on the computer. But if you see my Left to Rust video, I don't actually have that much storage on my laptop. So I thought I'd try the next best thing. My phone. And that's what this video is going to be about, looking at mobile FNaF fan games. I've seen a couple of these videos before, but they're always on Google Play Store or something, not the actual App Store. Because they own a Samsung or whatever, but I'm cool and rich and own an iPhone. So I'm very curious to see if these fan games are up to par with the games on gamejolt. I'm just so excited we have to cut this intro short. So let's just go and play some mobile FNaF fan games. Alright, so the first game I want to talk about is Secret of the Mimic. Wait, they poured Secret of the Mimic to the App Store? Why haven't I seen anyone talk about this? Now, I love Secret of the Mimic. It's definitely one of my favorite FNaF games. Unless we're including nostalgia, then it's actually my least favorite and still will ruin the lore. Just ignore that Scott wrote the game. Either way, I'm interested to see how this mobile port fares compared to the original game. Oh, so this is why no one talked about it. Yeah, as you can tell, this is not Secret of the Mimic. It's just some game using its likeness. If I had to guess, it's a reskin of some other slop mobile horror game. It was just made so they could play a lot of ads. The first thing that happens when we load in the game is that you're hit with an ad, so that's probably it. I really hope this doesn't become a reoccurring theme throughout this video. The game can also crash a lot when you try to load it. It crashed the first couple times I tried to load in. If you manage to actually load the game, you'll be met with this ominous message. Every time I blink, the shadow in the corner gets closer. But when I open my eyes, it's gone. What does that even mean? Then you'll be hit with another ad, of course. There are two modes in this game. The Walking Dead, I guess, as mode 1, and some first-person shooter as mode 2. I picked mode 1 first because it's the first one and I really like The Walking Dead. When we load in the game, we play as Jackie with a fucking gun. That is 2 fan game videos in a row with animatronics using guns. Well, I'm not sure I'd describe this as a fan game since I doubt there was any passion put into this. You're basically in a room, and to escape, you have to run around and find the letters O-P-E-N to open the door. Wait, was that intentional? None of them are hard to find. Then you leave and go upstairs where you'll be attacked by Chica. The enemies in this game kill you in one hit. And to be honest, guys, I didn't try again. I didn't really care for this mode. And it's not just because it's boring, but because of something else I've not yet mentioned. Randomly while playing, Lurk Echo Games will decide you've been playing for too long. So about, like 30 seconds. And they hit you with an ad break. No, I'm not kidding. You'll get a 3-second warning and then you'll have to watch an ad. I don't play too many mobile games, so I don't know if this is a common practice. Nor do I care because it sucks. This game is already boring enough, and now you want me to sit through an ad for half the time I'm playing the game? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, dude. Anyway, that was mode 1. Despite the aspect of playing as Jackie using a gun, there really isn't much to talk about. Let's talk about mode 2. Hopefully it's more interesting. Mode 2 is different. Here you play as some guy who I'm assuming is Gregory based on the description, but the description is pretty obviously written by AI, probably the Mimic AI itself since the game says it's powered by the Mimic, so I won't put too much stock in this idea, but I'll pretend it's Gregory anyway. You play as Gregory in a first-person POV, while being hunted by Jackie. You have to grab a gun and shoot her, and that's it. I don't think there's anything else to do here except grab a gun, run around, and shoot her when she respawns. I mean, you can hide too, but it doesn't really do anything. And of course, there are still the ad breaks. And that was the Secret of the Mimic mobile port. Yeah, it kinda sucks. You can tell this game was just made to capitalize off Secret of the Mimic to make some money. I mean, they didn't even care enough to change the hint text. It just says add tips here if you want. And the ad breaks are really, really annoying. And there wasn't even any secret lore, come on. So I probably would not play this game if I was you guys, although I doubt this game will be up for long. In case you guys don't know, back in 2015, there was a game on the App Store or something called Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and it was presenting itself as FNaF 4. Problem is, it wasn't FNaF 4, it was just some guy trying to ride off the hype of the game that hadn't come out yet. Much like this, except Secret of the Mimic is already out. Scott took the game down shortly after it came out. As of now though, Secret of the Mimic is still up. Well, that game kinda blows. Let's hope our next game is better. Oh no it's not. Five Nights at Pixel Pizza 3D is the next game we are talking about. It's a bit more of a classic FNaF game, with the classics and survive format taking heavy inspiration from FNaF 1. There are 2 doors to the left and right. You have to close the door when the animatronics get near, but you can't have them closed forever. You have power, or energy, that goes down fairly slowly, so it shouldn't be a problem. But if you do run out, don't worry, you can get 10% more energy by watching an ad, of course. Something interesting is that at the start of the night, you have to equip the cameras yourself. I mean, they're in the same position each night, except you lose one every night, but it's a cool idea. There's also a flashlight, which doesn't really do anything. Oh, also the animatronics look like this. Yeah, this game also isn't very good. The gameplay is very basic, just clearly copying FNaF 1, but I do think think the animatronic designs are really funny. I mean, look at them. Look at Bonnie walking in place. What is he doing, dude? I also don't like how the cameras just randomly go out sometimes. That's pretty annoying. I didn't play much of this game. When you die, you have to start all the way from night 1, and I didn't want to replay the 8-minute nights again, so yeah. Sorry to any huge Five Nights at Pixel 3D fans out there. This isn't the most in-depth review. Yeah, this game is pretty bad. There's no fear factor, and I mean, just look at it. I would definitely not recommend this game even if you can't afford to play FNaF 1. Alright, so the next game is called Five Nights at Scary Pizzeria 3D, and wait, something feels familiar. Yeah, this game is definitely similar to Pixel Nights, which makes sense since they come from the same developer. And actually, as I'm writing this script, I'm finding out Pixel Nights is apparently a sequel to this game. So I got the games out of order. I'm so sorry I messed up the chronological order of Nights at Scary Pizzeria 3D series. So how does this game compare to its sequel? Well, I actually like it better. First of all, let's talk about the gameplay. It's pretty much the same, except you don't equip the cameras, which is fine. It didn't add anything to the second game. What I like more about this game is that the flashlight actually has a purpose. Throughout the night, the lights will randomly go out in your office and the cameras, and you can use the flashlights to see. I think that's a cool idea. The animatronics also look better, I guess. They are more Minecraft inspired, so they look less silly compared to the animatronics in the second game. The AI is still not very great though. It's not powered by the Mimic AI. Overall, this game is better than its sequel, but not by much. It's still not scary and the nights are still too long. Yeah, don't check this one out. Now let's talk about the other game from this developer here, that being Five Nights at Pizzeria Dead City 3D. This game is definitely the worst out of the trilogy. We once again have the Minecraft art style, so unfortunately the animatronics aren't funny to look at. The thing with this game is I'm not exactly sure how you win. Doors are wide open and there's nothing to close. I really don't know. I also don't know why there's power, or actually what is even going on. Why are we in the middle of the woods? I think you're supposed to do something with this box, but I couldn't figure it out. And the nights are again 8 minutes long. So when you die, you have to go back from night 1 again. So I didn't play this one too much, sorry guys. Alright, let's rank the Five Nights at Pizzeria trilogy. 3. Five Nights at Pizzeria Dead City 3D, or whatever it's called. This game is just not good. I don't know how you're supposed to survive, and the premise doesn't really make sense. This might be a worse ending to a trilogy than The Rise of Skywalker. I think we can all agree on that. Number 2, Five Nights at Scary Pizzeria 3D 2. Also known as 5 Pixel Nights at Pizzeria or whatever it's called. This game is pretty boring. The idea of equipping the cameras could be cool if we could pick which ones we want to use, as they slowly get disabled through the game, but it doesn't do that. The light mechanic is also useless, but at least the animatronics are funny to look at. Number 1, Five Nights at Pizzeria Scary 3D. If you have to play one of these games for some reason, like someone has a gun to your head, I think it should be this one. Don't get me wrong, it's not good, but it's the best of the worst. I like how the flashlight is actually necessary, and the lights going out randomly is cool and something that should be done more. So overall, I would say the Scary Pizzeria 3D trilogy doesn't live up to the original FNaF games really at all. They aren't scary, and they aren't even that funny either. Please just spend $3 on FNaF 1. It must be better than this. I really wish I had more to say about these games, but I really got nothing, guys. These are such nothing games. I need a palate cleanser. Let's talk about... Alright, so I don't actually think this is a FNaF game, but I want to talk about it anyway because I do think it's pretty cool. From the limited amount of time I've played it. In Bear's Motel, you play as a new electrician named Jay Miller. Wait, Jay Miller? Holy shit, Joel? Miller's new job is at a motel that I think is called Bear Haven. We get a little slideshow that introduces the mechanics of fixing generator boxes and turning on and off the lights. We also get a message from an unknown person who says they can help us out if we go outside. This introduced the other mechanic to us, which is that we can turn around by swiping on the screen. We then go and fix an electric box, and eventually we run into a teddy bear that is haunted, I guess, and we have to go to another room and turn off the light to hide. And I'm guessing this is the basic gameplay loop, just going around fixing the electric boxes until a bear shows up and we have to hide. There's also cameras we can use in some of the rooms, and a phone that rings throughout the night that we have to answer so it stops ringing. Like I said, I'm not sure this really counts as a mobile FNaF fan game. I mean, I think it's probably inspired, but it's more so doing its own thing. I just want to talk about it because it seemed cool for the most part. I just talked about 3 Scary Nights at the Pizzeria 3D games in a row. Okay, I need something good. The only problem I have is that this game is riddled with ads, but that's par for the course here, so whatever. There's 2 other games in this series, but I haven't checked them out. Maybe if you guys want, I'll do an entire review of this series. Let me know in the comments. And actually, this is a pretty convenient place to do this. I have something to ask of you guys, and that is that you subscribe. I'm trying to hit 8,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and subscribing will be a massive help. But only if you enjoy the video, and if you want to unsubscribe at any time, you can. With that said, let's get back to these games. Let's see what's next. Oh, fuck. Oh boy, we are finally here. For Five Nights in the Asylum, you play as a night guard in an asylum. Wow, who would have guessed? But this isn't any old asylum. This is a Five Nights asylum. There are animatronics that, according to the phone guy, broke down a few years ago, and now think that any person they see needs a surgery, which makes no sense. If they broke down years ago, why have they not done anything about them yet? Whatever. To defend yourself, you have 2 electric shocks that you can use to shock the animatronics when they come to your office, and a huge door in case things get out of hand. I know you're only supposed to use this as a last resort, because if you use it, the power drains really, really fast. It also closes when the power goes out. That's kind of weird. There's also cameras, but the cameras are broken, like really broken. I don't know how you're supposed to like use them. Every time I attempt night 1, they come up, sure, but once they go back down, I can't get them up again for some reason. I also can't put them down when they're up, they just randomly go down. The map UI is just in the middle of the screen. I tried tapping on it, but it didn't do anything. Anyway, that's the game, I guess. Oh, also the animatronics come in through the wall, by the way, so I don't think the electricity even works on them. You can only use the shocks so many times too. They drain 10% of your power every time you use them, which is just amazing. Overall, this game is really bad, from the graphics to the gameplay. I do like the phone guy though, and it's nice to have a phone guy finally. That's the one thing this game has over the 5 Scary Nights at the Pizzeria 3D trilogy. What an accomplishment. The game also does have a lonely atmosphere to it, which is nice and it makes sense. Overall though, yeah, just never play this game, okay? The final thing I want to talk about that I think is really weird is that when you click on more games, it takes you to the developer's Apple Music page for some reason, and there's nothing here. Dude, what is this game? Wait, dude. Hey, that kind of rhymes with tube. Kind of like... FNaFTube is the first app we'll be covering in this video that is not a game. Instead, it's supposed to be a social networking app for FNaF fans. And also apparently it got taken off the App Store during the production of this video. This was the app I was most interested in when testing all these apps out. I thought the concept was really interesting. And I wanted to see if there was an unknown group of the community hiding out here. And I really want to know if they believed Still Here Trap or not. When I loaded into the app, I got a load error. A server with the specified hostname could not be found. Oh no, that's not good. Yeah, this app is unfortunately broken. Nothing here works. I tried to use the discussion feature and set my profile picture to Rusted Bonnie from the greatest game ever made, but it didn't work, nor did changing my name to Zeto. We can still get an idea of what this app was though. The app had stuff like coloring pages, quizzes, and fan comics. They also had a page dedicated to streamers, which surprisingly does still work. If you swipe right at any time, there would be a pop-out menu with YouTubers. You know, you have all the big guys here, the classics: Markiplier, 8-Bit Gaming, Zetorocks, Daco, Fusion Z Gamer, Game Theory, Andrew John 100.
Whoa, I killed him, Chica.
You can send feedback, and I did. Zetorocks@gmail.com for sponsorships, by the way. Overall, the app actually seems like it would have been cool if it worked. I think I really would have liked this app as a kid. It's unfortunate what happened to it. I don't have a transition into the next apps, so let's just hop into them, I guess. Before we get into the final 5 games, I want to talk about some other apps, but I don't have enough to say about them individually, so I'll just all talk about them here. They're not games, just activity apps. Our first app is a wallpaper app mainly based on sister location, but there is FNaF 1, 2, 3, and 4 here as well. This app features multiple different wallpapers, which you could probably guess from the name, and I'm certain they are almost all stolen fan art. Something strange about this app is that some of the categories just don't work and will crash the app if you access them. One of them is the Funtime Freddy category, which is absolutely crazy to me. He is by far one of the most popular sister location animatronics, and he's definitely my favorite. Also, did anyone else really like that theory that he was the crying child back in the day? I believed that for a long time. I don't know why. I just like the idea. Like, I don't know. It was a weird time. Overall, this app is fine, I guess. Then we have a coloring book app. In this app, there are multiple different books with multiple different drawings that you can color in. Yep, that's how a coloring book works. It's fine, I guess, except the app will randomly just crash and it doesn't save your drawings, which sucks, so yeah. Next up is an app called FNaF Quiz. This is one of those BuzzFeed type quizzes that tries to guess which animatronic you are. It asks such glorious questions like, who do you think was behind the bite of 87? Bear, Fox, Funtime, or BB? I don't know what to say, it's just kind of there. It asks questions and you get an ad every few questions, which isn't too bad. Anyway, the app said I was my favorite FNaF character, Funtime, and the final app is called FN Trivia. I'm guessing the FN stands for 5 Nights. I know, some elite detective skills. It's just a trivia game that asks questions, mostly about FNaF 1 and 2, at least with how far I got. I just know this was made in 2014 because they asked which character has 2 mouths, and the answer was Chica and not Nightmare, Fredbear, or Nightmare. Actually, wait, no, never mind. It asks a FNaF 4 question later. The final question I got asked was who killed Ralph, and I didn't know what to say. It's a 7-letter word, but none of the animatronics in FNaF 1 have 7 letters in their name. Turns out the answer was actually unknown, and I needed ChatGPT to help me figure that out. So in case you guys want to know how smart I am, there's your answer. I'm still not going to continue doing the trivia though, I just have no interest. The app is fine, I guess, better than the other three, and it's not riddled with ads. I mean, you can buy stuff in it, but whatever. So if you want to check out any of these four for some reason, I guess this would be your best choice. So overall, these apps were fun, but bare bones. Don't worry though, because we still have 5 games to talk about, and I saved some of the best and some of the worst apps for last. Alright, let's get the slop game out of the way first. In Security Parks Nights, you play as some security guard where you have to watch over an amusement park, but uh-oh, there's killer animatronics. This time, they have the sun and moon from Security Breach. There's probably others too, but I didn't notice them. There are also trees that are alive for some reason. There are cameras you can use to keep track of the robotic threats, and a power mechanic as well. And looking through the cameras, this doesn't really look like an amusement park. I'm not really sure what this place is. There's a mushroom with a slide, the iconic living tree, and giant skulls all over the place. I also don't know any amusement parks that are square like this. The first thing that happens when you boot the game is the developer asking you to rate the game. Not really related to anything else I talked about so far. I just didn't know where else to fit it in. But I think it's really funny considering this game's quality. So you might have noticed one thing I missed when talking about the gameplay, and that is how you actually survive against the enemies. And well, I'd love to tell you, but unfortunately I can't because this game is broken. When you try to move at the start of the night, the security guard just looks up and you're just kind of stuck there now. And I thought gamers don't look up. If you try to tap on anything besides the camera button, like the doors, nothing happens. So you're just left wide open for an attack by an animatronic. You can survive night 1 just fine because for some reason, the animatronics are never aggressive enough to get to your office on night 1 in these games, except for Nights of the Asylum, of course. Unfortunately, you know, that is 5 Nights of the Asylum. When you die, you start all the way from night 1 because it's something else these games love to do, and I don't really want to replay this game at all, so I'm not going to. In a way, this game feels like a successor to the 5 Nights at Scary Pizza 3D franchise, which is something you don't want to beat. So overall, I would recommend not playing this game. I mean, it literally soft locks you, probably on purpose. On the bright side, this was absolutely the worst game out of these 5, so it's only uphill from here. The first thing we hear when we load up Jumpscare Factory is this song. Does anyone else remember this? It's a classic for sure. Anyway, in this game, we have 2 options, Factory and Minigame. Let's talk about Factories first. Factory is where the namesake of the game is. Here you can make an original FNaF animatronic, customize pretty much everything about them, and use them in a jump scare. There are also daily logins you can get by logging in daily, pretty self-explanatory. It's okay, I guess, it reminds me of Flash games. This is my guy, I think we should call him Pumpkin Trap, because, you know, it's almost Halloween, he's orange. Is that okay? Actually, this reminds me of that prototype Springtrap for that Funko thing that was orange. Whatever happened to him? Does anyone remember that? Next up are the mini games. There are 3 to choose from. Shootout Showdown, Quest Mode, and Surprise Mode. Surprise Mode is just a thing where you can pick an innocent background and then give it to a friend, and when they click on the screen, they get jump scared. Wow, scary. I know, when my friends fell for the Pumpkin Trap's jump scare, they weren't too happy. Could Pumpkin Trap be the next horror icon? Anyway, yeah, this mode is fine, I don't know what else to say. Quest Mode is pretty much just matching the customizable animatronic to the pre-made one it gives you. It doesn't seem that hard, I only did it once. It reminds me of those minigames at Help Wanted 2, where you had to customize the staff bot and Roxy, and you had a time limit. I hated these minigames. I died a lot when I first played the game, and then Fusion C Gamer spoiled the ending the day the game came out, and I blame the staff bot for that. Overall, this mode is the definition of mid. It's not bad, but it's not exactly good either. It's just here and exists as a fun challenge. The time limit is pretty generous, although I cut it pretty close because I didn't really lock in that hard, but if I could beat this, then it's probably easy for an actual person who likes this type of stuff. The final mode is Shootout Showdown. In this mode, you have a gun. What's with it with FNaF fan games and guns? And you have to shoot the animatronics that can appear in front of you or behind you. You have 5 bullets that can be reloaded at the bottom of the screen. There are hours, but I don't know if it's a survive until 6 AM thing or an endless thing. The animatronics do get more aggressive as the night goes on. Speaking of the animatronics, they are all just randomly generated animatronics from the factory mode. However, there are some secret characters you can get that do unique things. You can get Freddy sometimes, he is pretty much a basic character from what I can tell. You can get Foxy too, who runs towards you faster than the rest. An obvious reference to FNaF 1. And the coolest, in my opinion, is Purple Guy, who won't go away right after you shoot him. You have to shoot him 3 times, and when you shoot him, he will say, "You can't," in reference to the Save the minigame, which has William's first line of dialogue in the series. These references definitely elevate the mode for me, and is definitely my favorite of the game. I enjoy the gameplay loop even if it's simple. It's definitely more of a turn off your brain game that you just play to kill time, like on the bus or something, although you'll never catch me playing fucking Jumpscare Factory in public, sorry guys. I don't know, this mode is just fun. So now let's rank the 4 modes in Jumpscare Factory. Number 4, surprise mode. It's just boring. I just don't think Pumpkin Trap is scaring anyone anytime soon, unfortunately. Number 3, factory. If you like making your own characters, you'll probably enjoy this. It's never been my thing though. Unless it's an online game like GTA, I've never been very interested in character design. The best thing about this mode is Pumpkin Trap. Number 2, quest mode. It's fine for what it is. It's a natural thing to put in a game like this. And again, if you enjoy character designs, this is for you. Number 1, Shootout Showdown. Easily the best mode in the game. While the premise may be absurd, it has a relatively fun and engaging, if not simple, gameplay loop. And I like the little references thrown in. All in all, Jumpscare Factory is definitely more than I thought it would be. I thought it would just be Jumpscare Slop, but there's more to it than that. The minigames are appreciated, except surprise mode, that one is just kind of boring. It also has a banger soundtrack. It's not the best app ever, but for what it is, it's fine. Definitely better than Five Nights at the Asylum. You know what would be cool is if you can make a customizable animatronic Shrek, or maybe even like a red Shrek named Greg. I'm not sure if this counts as a FNaF fan game, but it has 5 nights in the name, so I'm talking about it anyway. In this game, you spend 5 nights at Shrek's hotel, or Grex. Just a red Shrek with the fucking MLG sunglasses. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I have never watched a Shrek movie before. It's just never been a series that seemed interesting to me. I never really got in with the memes either. I feel like that's important context in case there's some references in this game that I missed because I know nothing about the movies. Let's talk about the gameplay right now. The mechanics are walking around and sometimes interacting with stuff. Yeah, it's not very in-depth gameplay. Let's talk about the plot of this game because for the first time, there is one. This game actually starts with amazing dialogue. For some reason, you have left your house and have moved to a new city to live. You have a job, but you don't have enough money to buy a house yet, so you decide to spend 5 nights at Greg's hotel. So maybe you could afford the money you needed to buy a new house with your new job. I just love how the game doesn't bother to explain why we moved. We just did it for some reason. After this, we get an ad, of course. Yeah, every time you complete an objective or pause in this game, you get an ad. Annoying, but what are you gonna do, I guess? Now, there's something weird about the text in this game. For some reason, it's all just squares, and I have no idea why this happens. You go up to talk to Greg, and he says this.
Hello there, welcome to Shrek's Hotel.
So I guess this is Shrek's hotel? Even though the first thing we see in-game is a sign saying Greg's Hotel. Okay, whatever. Our protagonist, who I'm gonna name Zeto Sr., buys a room, which is upstairs. And this is probably a good time to mention that every time you open a door, it makes this sound. I just thought that was something to call out. When we get to our room, we see a red gingerbread cookie with a trash bag, which I'm assuming is probably holding bodies, because that's kind of creepy. And spoilers, but let's just say there's a bit more to Shrek's hotel than meets the eye. You can go up to him and he has some dialogue. Before Senior goes to bed, he has to take a shit, so he does that and he goes to sleep. On night 2, Greg asks us to clean the bathroom because apparently we made a mess. So we take the broom away from the cookie, which starts crying, and clean the bathroom. After doing that, I went upstairs and found this guy looking at a picture of Shrek. When we walk up by it, he runs away for some reason. I try to go to bed, but Senior wanted to look at the painting instead. When we do that, he throws up on it or something, and we have the option to hide the painting or run away. I chose to hide it, and we have to hide it before Greg gets upstairs. When we hide it, the painting is still on the wall though. Greg and Senior have a conversation, and Senior then goes to bed. On night 3, we eat, and that's it. On night 4, when we go upstairs, Greg is there holding the painting. He tells us that it's a picture of his great-great-grandfather and that he is angry we did this, telling us he had enough of our games. To make up for it, we have to take boxes upstairs and put them in a storage closet that has numerous weapons in it. After we're done with the boxes, Greg tells us we can sleep. On night 5, things get a little scary. Senior wakes up in the middle of the night and the screen is all red. Yeah, I bet you're already terrified. We can open the door across the hall to find the person staying in the room has been stabbed to death. I don't know why this room only has a bed in the center of the room, but ignore it. When we exit the room, Greg stands at the end of the hall. When you get too close, he jump scares you, knocking you out. Senior wakes up in some unknown location and drinks some Greg juice, which Senior says makes him feel strong. We explore our environment and we find we are in some kind of prison, with other prisoners here as well. We're able to break the bars due to our strength from the juice. Eventually, we meet up with Greg, who has a fucking RPG. That's right, we've graduated from guns. He shoots it at us, but Senior is strong enough to grab it mid-air and throw it back at Greg, blowing up the prison, probably killing everybody inside. And then the game ends. If you're wondering what happens when you run away instead of hide the painting, Greg just kills you. So what do I think of the game? Well, it certainly exists. I don't know, there's not much to say. It's pretty boring, but it's only like 20 minutes. It's clearly more of a joke game, so it's kind of hard to review. I don't think it's very funny, but that's just me. Also, from what I can tell, this game is actually a game called Five Nights at Shrek 2, which you might know about because YouTubers like Fusion C Gamer played it and got 4 million views. Yes, 4 million views for Shrek's Hotel. Overall, I probably wouldn't recommend this game unless you want to play it. Yeah, I have nothing more to say. Let's just move on to our next game, which hopefully has more substance. That's right, it's another Secret of the Mimic mobile game. Is this one a more accurate port? Well, let's find out together. The loading screen of this game is Jackie in the FNaF 1 office, and before we even load into the game, we get an ad. We're already off to a spectacular start. The title screen is just Jackie outside. Something that's interesting is that in the settings, you can actually make the AI more difficult. Upon loading into the game, you are told that you have to find letters to escape the room you are in, which seems to be a hotel lobby of some kind. You can find a baseball bat and a note telling you to get out of there, and that there are other notes that you can find that tell you a hidden story. After this, you will encounter 2 animatronics that spawn in, Foxy and Springtrap with no textures. I think this is supposed to be the original Glitchtrap model, which was just Springtrap. You take the bat and beat them up, and that's it. I couldn't find a way out of the room. I did find a med kit though. But don't worry guys, this Secret of the Mimic takes inspiration from the other Secret of the Mimic we played in this video. That's right, ad breaks randomly during gameplay are back. And it's worse than the other Secret of the Mimic too. The texture shows up for like a second and you're already loaded into the ad. I don't know how they managed to do it, but this is somehow worse than the Secret of the Mimic we played earlier in this video. At least in that one, there's more content and the Jackie gameplay is at least doable. I just didn't do it because I'm not playing through all those ads, but still. I just couldn't find any way to continue playing this Secret of the Mimic. I just could not find any of the letters. I also think this is worse because I've played the developer's other game, Alien Invasion Escape, and while it's not a masterpiece, it's just the same level each time with a tighter time limit, it's definitely better than this. And there's no ads either. So overall, I would say don't play either of the Secret of the Mimics. And now guys, it's time. We are at the final game. And you know what they say, save the best for last. The game I'm talking about is so much better than everything here that's not even funny. And what is that game? Alright, please hear me out. 5 Tries at Love is a FNaF dating sim, and this is real. I've never played a dating sim in my life, and I wasn't planning to play this one, but there weren't a lot of games, so I thought I'd throw it in. In this game, you play as a new night guard at Freddy's, I'm guessing, and your job is to sweep the floors. While sweeping the floors, you can find money that can be used when talking to Balloon Boy, or I'm sorry, Gift Boy. Your main goal of the game, though, is to seduce one of the various animatronics. There are 4 game modes, but they're all just reskins of the game, based on FNaF 1, 2, and 3, and this weird clown version that you unlock by buying this thing in the gift shop. In the FNaF 1 mode, you talk to such iconic characters like Teddy, Roxy, and Spring. I'm not sure why it's just these 3, especially since FNaF 1, Bonnie and Chica are in this game just in the FNaF 2 mode, or I'm sorry, Bunny and Chick. There's also Chomper in the FNaF 2 mode, who is just Mangle. I guess she's called Chomper because for like 10 years, almost everyone thought Mangle did the bite of 87, but our glorious GOAT the week before strongly implies Foxy did it, so unfortunately this game is outdated and I have to give it a 0 out of 10. I'm so sorry. If you're wondering, in the FNaF 3 mode, there is Phantom Teddy, Shadow, and Mime. Not the puppet. Not puppet or something, Mime. The basic gameplay loop has you sweeping the floors, although this depletes 30% of your energy. When sweeping, you get cash so you can buy things from Gift Boy. You can buy energy, a gift, money, which seems to be a bit counterintuitive, the secret 4th mode I talked about earlier, and this thing for $300, which makes Gift Boy fall in love with you, I think. When he shows up, you have to say you want to buy something or he'll kill you. If you don't want to buy stuff though, you can just leave the room by clicking on the camera panel, which is a nice touch. I like the camera panel. Speaking of rooms, let's talk about the look of the game here. They're fine, I guess. They're not very memorable to me besides Pirate Cove and The Office. I do think overall the game has a nice art style, but these rooms, they just aren't very memorable to me. In these rooms, you can find one of the 3 animatronics you can hook up with. To get with them, you have to get the heart above their text box to 100%. You can do this by talking to them or giving them a gift. You can only talk to them so many times before the game doesn't let you anymore. I mean, you could if you want to watch an ad, but I don't want to, so I didn't. When you talk to them, the percentage goes up by 5% and you lose 10% of your energy. You can give them a gift, and if they like it, their percentage goes up by 10%, but if they don't, it goes down by 10%. You lose 10% of your energy either way. As you get to know them better, they will start to ask you questions when you run into them. If you get them right, they'll like you more, but if you get them wrong, they'll like you less. From what I can tell, there's no actual way to know what the right answer is, so you just have to blindly guess, which isn't very fun. If you don't fall in love with an animatronic before the end of night 5, you'll get a paycheck calling you the loneliest employee of the month. And that's basically the gameplay. I was only able to get with Shadow Bonnie in the FNaF 3 mode, and then this happened. I'm still not exactly sure what this means. You see, this game is strange because it's actually kind of good. Like, it's not the most in-depth game ever made or anything, and I don't know how it compares to other dating sims, but overall it's somewhat enjoyable, and the game actually works, which is more than I can say for a lot of other games in this video. This isn't something that I'd ever pick up and play, but for the most part, I don't know, I just had fun with it. It's not taking itself too seriously, it knows what it is, it's the FNaF dating sim, alright? And it feels like a FNaF game with the resource management, and there's even some horror moments. Or, well, attempts at horror moments. I'll never play this game again, but that's okay because I'm never gonna play any of these games again except for Five Nights at the Asylum, of course. Well guys, I think we did it. I think we found the only FNaF mobile game that actually somewhat feels like a FNaF game. I would recommend this game if you enjoy dating sims. And if you don't enjoy dating sims, then don't play it, I guess. Or do, you know, we're all our own people. Well guys, we have talked about a lot of games today, and I surprisingly had a lot to say about them. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into when playing these games. I thought there would be like 5 games that were pretty in-depth, and I would have a lot to talk about. Instead, there was Security Park Nights Chapter 1. Yeah, most of these games are just slop that was made to get money from little kids who can't afford FNaF 1, or tricking people into thinking Secret of the Mimic is on mobile. I think playing these games, I've seen more ads than is healthy for the average person. So yeah, just spend the $3 on FNaF 1, I promise you it's better than any of these alternatives. And also, compared to the games on gamejolt, yeah, it's not a competition. Even Left to Rust was better than most of these games. I think that should say something about the quality difference. Not to say all of these are bad though. Some of these are actual fan projects that are just mobile games. Sure, they have ads, but they usually aren't as bad as something like both of the Secret of the Mimics we played in this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I put a lot of work into it, and if you did, please make sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 8,000 subscribers before the end of the year. While you're down there, also make sure to hit the like button and tell me in the comments what your favorite game or app I covered today was. Or if there's any I missed that you wish I had talked about. Who knows, I might make a sequel to this video someday. So I guess all I have to say is make sure to check out Nights at Scary Pizzeria 3D Trilogy. They are the best FNaF games probably ever.